In the last section, we have discussed about the design steps of footing. Now we are going to design, we are going to take a numerical based on the same. Okay, here is a question which was asked in 2014 for 25 marks. Okay, design an actually loaded short column at C10 as shown in figure 1 in ground floor and below plinth along with isolated footing for a G plus 2 building with following details. What you have to design? You have to design an actually loaded short column at C10. Okay. Hmm. As shown in the figure 1 in ground floor and below plinth along with isolated footing. The footing you are going to provided is isolated footing for G plus 2 building with following detail. As your building is also G plus 2, you can refer this example for the design purpose. Okay, first is floor to floor height is 2.88 m, that is meter, 2.88 meter. Depth of foundation below ground level is 1.5 meter. Height of plinth is 0.6 meter. Live load on all slabs is 3 kilonewton per meter square. Floor finish load is 1 kilonewton per meter square. Waterproofing load on roof slab is 1.5 kilonewton per meter square. Wall thicknesses is 230 mm. Slab thicknesses is 150 mm. Height of parapet wall is 1 meter. Size of beam is 230 by 450 mm. Safe bearing capacity of soil is 200 kilonewton per meter square. The material used for the construction is M25 and Fe415, and you have to show the detailed load design calculation and reinforcement detail in plan and sectional elevation. Okay, now see here, this is your plan. The question is asked, the question is for your which column you are going to design is C10. Okay, see here in the question it is given you have to design an actually loaded short column at C10. Let's see where is the C10. Okay, see here in this diagram you can see that C10 is here. Okay, you have to design this column. Okay, now whatever the details given is you all consist of floor to floor height 3.6 meter. Height of column below plinth is 2.5 meter. Then the live load on all slab is 4 kilonewton per meter square. Floor finish load is 1.5 kilonewton per meter square. Waterproofing load on roof slab, okay, waterproofing load you have to take at the roof slab is 1.5 kilonewton per meter square, which you always asked while the designing. Okay, wall thicknesses is 150 mm internal and slab thickness 130 mm. Okay, size of beam is 230 by 450 mm. Safe bearing capacity you have provided with 220 kilonewton per meter square, and the grade of concrete you are provided with M25 and Fe415. Step number one, you have to do the load calculation from roof slab to the ground slab. Okay, first we are going to deal with first is roof slab. Dead load of slab is 25 into D. Okay, you are provided with the slab thicknesses is 130. Here 25 into D is the overall thickness, that is 130, that is 0.13, which will is equal to 3.25 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, next floor finish consists of 1.5 kilonewton per meter square. Waterproof load is given to you, that is 1.5 kilonewton per meter square. Then your line load on slab is live load of slab is 1.5 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, total load on roof slab is going to be 7.75 kilonewton per meter square. You have to calculate all these values from the dead load up to the live load on the slab, that is 7.75 kilonewton per meter square. Now next, okay, then you have to calculate for the first and second floor slab. Okay, first and second floor slab you have to calculate the values. Okay, the first floor slab, you here see in this you are not going to consider the waterproof is not required on first and second floor. Okay, there's no need to calculate or go with the waterproof. Has Okay, you have to go with the first is dead load on slab 3.25 kilonewton per meter square. The same formula you are going to use here. Okay, that is dead load. Dead load of slab is 25 into D. You know the thickness of your, or the effective depth of your slab. Okay, floor finish, live load. Okay, total load on roof slab is 8.75. You have to do the calculation here. Okay, here the uh, first and second floor slab calculation will be same, therefore it is 8.75 for both. Okay, second step is load on slab to column. Whatever the load from the slab to the column it is going to move, it is the calculation is done here. Load on column from roof slab, whatever the load on column it is going to become on the roof slab. Okay, on the roof slab. Okay, here the intent, here the load on the roof, load on the column from the roof slab. Okay, P is intensity of load into shaded area, whatever the shaded area is given to you. Okay, and this is your column C10, this is your column C10. Okay, this is your column C10, and the whatever the load it is going to distribute to this slab, it is in the form of shaded column it is given. Okay, 7.75 into 3.805 into 3.16. Okay, this is the shaded area. Okay, it is coming 93.18. Okay, this is from load on column from the roof slab. Okay, 7.75 is the, here is the total load which is acting on the roof slab is 7.75. Okay, now here next is load on column from second floor slab. From the second floor, whatever the load which is going to act on that column, it is 8.75 into same the shaded area is taken, that is coming 105.28 kilonewton. Similarly, you have to go with the load on column from the first floor slab. It is same as this load calculation for this slab is same, therefore 8.75 into the shaded area will be the same. The value going going to come for first and second floor will be same. Okay, total load from slab to column. Okay, what is the total load now coming from the slab to the column is from the roof to the first and second floor. Okay, that will be the addition, that is 303.60 kilonewton, that is 303.60 kilonewton. Now step number 3, beam load from floor to the column. Beam load from the floor to the column. Beam load from floor to the, okay, beam load from the floor to the column. Now okay, here you can see self weight of the beam. Self weight of the beam, you know, 25 B into D. Okay, 25 into 0.3, that is the wall thickness, into 0.45. The beam depth is also given to you in the question. Okay, see here the question itself, it is given the beam. Here is the B into D, that is size of the beam is taken as it is. Okay, B into D. Okay, here is the, where is it? Huh. 25 into 0.23 into 0.45. The W1, the self weight of the beam. We calculate the self weight of the beam first, that is 2.5875 kilonewton. Now wall load. Wall load, density of the masonry into TW, thickness of wall, into height. Okay, here is W2. W2 is equal to density of masonry, we are going to take as the 20. As we know, the density of the concrete is 25. Here you use the 25 gamma BD. Okay, here you are going to use gamma, that is for the masonry it is 20. Okay, for the wall load. Okay, TW is the thickness. Here see this, since it is the column which is coming internal, the wall thickness you are going to take is the internal wall thickness, which is also provided with you as the 150, that is 0.15. Okay, into 3.6 is the floor to floor height, that is 10.80 kilonewton per meter. Now first, roof beam load to column. Roof, whatever the roof beam load which is going to act on the column is W1 into length of beam of shaded portions. Okay, here you can see 2.5875. This is the self weight of the beam into whatever this is the shaded area. Okay, okay. Now it is coming as 18.02. Okay, whatever the roof beam load to the column, it is coming 18.02 kilonewton per meter. Now similarly for second floor beam load to column is, see, in the roof, okay, at the top, okay, this is your top, okay, at this top there is no wall is provided here, okay, therefore we in the roof beam load to column we didn't consider this wall load, but for the second floor we are going to consider both w1 and w2. Why? As you are going to move, see here, this is, okay, this is the roof, there is no wall is provided here, okay, but the walls for the second and for the first, it is the here as the masonry walls are here, okay, you have to need to add the wall load, okay, w1 plus w2 into length of the beam of shaded area, okay, this is what we have got, that is 93.24. The same will be for the first floor beam load to column, okay. Now next, here you can see, here this is your building, this is your building, okay, okay, this is roof, this is roof, this is first, second, this is first, and this is ground G, okay. Here now you need to around floor beam load to column, okay. In case of plinth it will be same again, okay. In case of plinth only self weight of beam will be considered, okay, only self weight of the beam is considered for the plinth, okay, since has at the plinth level there is no wall, okay. After this you are going to construct a wall for the first floor, for the second, for the ground, okay. Now here is, therefore here is only 2.5875 into the shaded area, that is 6.97965, that will coming 18.05. See here, for the plinth level, for the plinth level beam and for the roof level beam, you need to consider only the self weight of your beam, no need to consider for the wall load, because there is no wall provided for at the plinth as well as at the roof, okay. Therefore you are going to consider only the self weight of the beam in the first floor, in the second floor, in the ground floor. There is need to provide, there you are provided with the wall, therefore you need to consider the wall load, therefore the self weight of the beam plus the wall load is considered in the first floor, second floor, and the around the floor beam load, okay. Okay, next is therefore the total load inclusive self weight is 18.02. This is the 18.02 plus 3 times the 93.24 plus 18.02, which is coming 315.76 kilonewton, which is coming 315.76 kilonewton. Now step number 4 is weight of column. You have to calculate the weight of column. For that you have to assume that the height is 0.9 meter and plinth height is 2.5 meter. Assume column size beam that is 230 by 500 okay. Now the self weight of the column at floor level, that is nothing but the gamma into b into d into h. You know the gamma is 25, b is the 0.23, and you assume the size, okay. Therefore 0.50 into height, you have assumed that the height is 0.9 meter, therefore whatever the self weight of the column is coming 2.5875 kilonewton. Now self weight of the column at the second floor, this is for the floor level, okay. This is for the floor level, okay. Now 2.875 into 3.6, okay, into 3.6, okay, that is floor to floor height, here is the 2.875. This is, see, this is for the assume the height for the floor level. Again you are going to consider for second floor, the floor to floor height, it is given 3.6, therefore the height is going to change, okay. Size of weight of column at the first floor, again it is, you have to same floor to floor height 3.6, you have to change the height of the floor. Now self weight of the column at the ground, that is 10.5, 3.35, again 3.6. Okay, self weight of the column from ground to plinth. Now the height is going to be assumed height, that is 2.5 meter, that is coming 7.187 kilonewton. Okay, now total load on the column, whatever the total load, it is 40.82 kilonewton, means the addition of this all, it is going to give you the total load, that is 40.82 kilonewton. Okay, now step number 5, step what says, total load on ground floor level, whatever the total load which is going to act on the ground floor column is P is equal to C, slab load plus beam load including wall load plus column load. Okay, slab load कितना है आपका? Okay, what is the total slab load? Total slab load you are getting is 303.60. Okay, now beam load including wall load is 315 point, here is the 315.76 kilonewton. Now the column load is nothing but the 40.82 kilonewton. Okay, okay, now now step number 6, and then addition of this will give you the total load on the ground floor, that is 660.18 kilo newton. Okay, now step number 6, design load on column. Design load on column is that P plus 10% of your P for accidental increase in load. Okay, whatever the load you calculation is this, maybe it going to be not constant at that, maybe get increased. Therefore you have to add 10% of your P for accidental increase in the load, means 1.1. See here, 1.1, why it is multiplied by 1? Since P is the 100% load. Okay, P is the 100% load. Okay, now you have increased by 10%, means you have to add it 10% in it, that is nothing but 110% divided by 100, it will give you 1.1. Okay, therefore you have to multiply it by here 1.1. 1.1 into whatever the load P is 660.18, that will give you 726.20 kilo newton. Now step number 7, design of ground floor level, ground floor column. Okay, ground floor column के लिए आपको, you know the total load acting is 726.20 kilonewton, but is this factor load? No, you have to, first of all you have to factor it. Factor it means you have to multiply it by it, multiplied it by 1.5. Okay, now you have to assume the area of steel, which it is 1% of your gross area. Okay, it is 1 point, see in the last year I have seen 1 to 5% in for the gross area. Gross area you have to assume, the area, assume the area of steel, you have to assume the area of steel is equal to 1 to 1 to 5%. Okay, let's see, we have assumed it has 3% of the gross area. The area of steel is 3% of the gross area, that is 0.03 ag. Area of concrete is nothing but area of concrete is equal to gross area minus the area of steel. Okay, area of concrete is nothing but the gross area minus the area of steel. Ag is equal to 0.03 of Ag, which is equal to 0.97 of gross area. Here Pu, you know this formula where it is from the IS code. Okay, put all the values. This factor load, FCK is 25, ASC you know that is 0.97 Ag. Everything you have to put and you have to find the gross area, which we have already done in the last numerical for the column. Okay, what is the gross area coming? That is 60382.35 mm square. Now check for the depth. Okay, as you know the B is 230. Now you have to check, is this whatever we have assumed the value 230 is nothing is correct, because the whatever the wall thickness and the size of the beam we have taken the 230. Now you have to check for the depth, whatever the depth you have assumed here 500, is it correct or not? Therefore check for the depth, B is equal to 230. Now in the design steps I have given you that Ag is nothing but the gross area is equal to B into D. Okay, B into D. Okay, now here is B, you know the 230, you have to calculate for the D. Therefore gross area, you know the gross area, you have to put the value of gross area, you have to put the value of B, you have to find the value of D. What is the D? Okay, here I have calculated d is equal to whatever it is coming, it is less than 500 mm, therefore it is okay. Whatever the check we have provided, it is okay. Okay, provide size of column as 230 mm by 500. In case if this is not, this is greater than 500 mm, then we have to redesign the section, means we have to assume the value greater than that, therefore we have to design for every step. Okay, now this, since it is okay, it is coming okay, whatever the value we assume, it is correct. Okay, now we can provide this size 230 mm by 500 mm. Now area of steel, you have to find the area of steel. Say the formula is 0.03 into gross area. Okay, whatever the area of steel is coming, that is 3450 mm square. Now number of bars, let's take number of bars, 22 bars we are using. Okay, you have to find the number of bars. N is equal to area of steel upon the area phi. Okay, area, what number of bars you are going to provide is 10 numbers. Whatever number of bars you are providing is 10 numbers. Okay, what you are doing here, you are designing the column. Okay, now you have to provide for the, you are going for the 10 bars of 22 phi. Now step number 8 is check for the eccentricity. You know the formula, eccentricity L upon 500 plus D upon 30. Okay, you have to take the minimum of the both, 20 maximum of the both. E minimum is coming 23.86 and your another value is 20 what whichever is greater you have to take. Let's take the E minimum as 23.86. Now check, go for the check for E max. I always see your E max should be always greater than your E minimum, then only you can go for the longitudinal design, or you are going for the axial column, actually loaded column. Okay, since here you can observe that whatever it is satisfying, therefore you can go for the design for actually loaded column. Now step number 9 is design of lateral tie. Since your longitudinal steel is 10 numbers, 10 bars. Okay, it is 10, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, 9 10. Okay, you are going for this 10 numbers of longitudinal bar. Okay, now you now next step, you have to design the lateral ties for your column. Assume the diameter of lateral tie is 8 okay, pitch of the lateral ties. Okay, least lateral dimension 230, next 16 into the longitudinal diameter, longitudinal steel diameter. Okay, whichever is less you have to go for that. Now the provide pitch of 230 summary, the column size you are provided is 230 by 500 longitudinal steel, you know, 10 bars of 22 phi, and lateral tie you have 8 phi at 230 center to center. Okay, this is what the design of your column. Now you have to go for the design of footing for this column. Okay, step number 1 for the design of column footing, the load on column, whatever the load is coming, 1089.29. See where it is. Here here you can see whatever the factor load, this is the load which is coming on the column. Okay, which is coming on the column, therefore you are going to take the load has 1089.29 kilonewton. Now you have to assume the self weight of your footing. Assume the self weight of your footing is, that is 10 into load on column. You have to assume that 10 times the load on the column is the self weight of your footing. Means total on load on footing is 1.1 into 1089.29. Means here you can see you have to assume 10% more load on your column. Okay, 10% of your load on column. Okay, total load on your footing is coming 1.1 into 1089. I have already explained how this 1.1 is coming. Okay, 1.1 into 1089.29, which is coming 1198.21 kilonewton. Now you have to factor this load. Okay, now you have to factor this load, that is 1797.33 kilonewton. Okay, Okay, if you haven't you actually there is no need to factor the load, because whatever the load here you are taking is the factor load only. Okay. Hmm. Next is you have to find the area of your footing. Area of footing is factor load upon the ultimate bearing capacity. Ultimate bearing capacity is already provided in your question. Okay, now you have factor load, you can put the values here and find the area of footing. What is the area of footing coming? That is 4.08 meter square. 4.08 meter square is the area of your footing. Now size of footing, you know the area, now you have to find the size of your footing. Okay, size of footing के लिए b upon d is equal to b upon l, that is nothing but b is equal to b upon d into l. Okay, that is how many times your l? Zero. Your b should be 0.46 times of your l. Okay, area is bl equal to 4.08 meter square. You know the uh, b value here. B is nothing but 0.46 times of your l, which is equal to whatever the value is l, that is the length of your footing is 3 meter, and your width of your footing is 1.5 meter. This is L, this is 1.5 meter. Okay, now provide the size of rectangular footing. From this you can identify which kind of footing is this. Here this type of footing is rectangular footing, that is 1.5 meter by 3 meter, and the area, now the area is 4.5 meter square. Okay, step number 4, that is upward soil pressure. How you have to find the upward soil pressure. Since this is your footing, some soil going to give you the pressure on your footing. You have to calculate that upward soil pressure is equal to factor load on your beam upon size of footing provided. Factor load on footing is equal to load without self weight of footing. Okay, without self weight of your footing, that is 1.5809 divided by 1.5 into 3, which is going to give you 363.09 newton per meter mm square. Now step number 5 is depth of your footing. Now you have to find the depth of your footing. Depth of footing, for you know there are two criteria for the check for the depth of the footing. Okay, first is one way shear and second is the punching shear or two way shear. For that, first you have to find the movement. Okay, depth of footing for bending movement criteria is considered on the face of the column. Okay, then you have to provide the check. Here is the formula for mx and my. Okay, you have to take you have to go for the mx and you have to go for the my, and whichever is the maximum value that you have to take, that is 283.66 kilonewton meter. And you have to find the limiting moment of resistance. As your grade of concrete is Fe415, the limiting moment of resistance is 0.138 fck bd square. Now you have to equate both mu limit and mu max, then you are going to get the depth of, that is effective depth, which is equal approximately equal to 300 mm. Then you have to find go for the overall depth. I have already told you, you have to take the cover. Okay, see here your overall depth is 400 mm, you have to provide. Now go for the depth of footing for one way shear, wide beam shear. Okay, I have in the last lecture I have told you about the one way shear. You have to, from the face of the column, you have to go for the effective length, effective depth. Okay, d. Okay, this is b, this is d. Shear force calculation, here is the this here, whatever is this is your footing. Okay, and this is your column. Okay, this is the size of column, that is 230 by 500, and this is your footing size, that is nothing by 3 by 1.5. This is your 1.5 and this is your 3 meter. Okay, okay. Now shear force at critical section, you know the formula, v is equal to p into area of strip. Okay, I have already explained you the formula in the last lecture. You have to just put the values here and find the VU. Okay, now nominal shear stress. Nominal shear stress, tau V is equal to VU upon V into T, but tau V should be less than Ks into tau C. Okay, ks, you know, 0.5 plus beta c. Beta c is nothing but the short length upon the long length, okay, of your column. Okay, tau c. Now cross check is your, now you can see that your tau c is coming 1.200 Newton per mm square. Now you have to see that tau v value. Okay, see here vu is nothing but tau c into bd. Vu nothing but tau c into bd. Here you have find the equation for vu. Vu is 544.635 into 1.25 minus d is equal to tau c. You have find 1.2, or b is known 1.5. You have to go with the d. Okay, here your d is coming 0.28 meter. Okay, 0.28 meter. Meter में, हाँ, meter में. Okay, from equation 1 you can find now the value of shear force. Okay, tau v. Okay, and you have to check, yes, okay, tau v is less than ks tau c, therefore the depth is safe against one way shear. Now check for the depth for two-way shear. Check for the depth of two-way shear. Okay, now here you can check for the depth for two-way shear. In two-way you have to take the from the face of the column d by 2, and from the face of the both the sides of column d by 2. Okay, you have to first go for the shear force, that is uplift pressure into shaded area. Okay, p into bl minus l plus d into l plus d plus d plus b plus d. This is the formula provided with you IS in the IS code. You have to put the values, you have to put the values and find the following things. You in the two-way shear you have to go for the parameter of the footing. Okay, shear force resisted by the concrete is vu equal to tau c dash b0d. b0 is a parameter of critical section. You have provided with the formula, you have to put the values, you have to find your, here you get the equation number 1. Now equating equation a and equation b, you will get the value of depth, that is nothing but your depth is 400 mm. Okay, in the last it is in the one way shear. In the one way shear it is 0.28 meter. 0.28 meter, here it is coming 400 mm. Okay, now you have to go with the main reinforcement. Main reinforcement for